Welcome back. You're watching live from Paris on France 24. It's time for Media Watch. We're going to find out what's making waves in the press here in France. James Creedon is back. I'm delighted to say hello to you, James.
Good evening, Laura.
Now, Mediapart, they're not huge fans of Nicolas Sarkozy. They'd love to have a hard-hitting face-to-face interview with him. That's not going to happen, but they have published 10 questions that they'd like him to answer.
It's a very interesting website to watch at the moment, Laura, because they're the ones who are really going for Nicolas Sarkozy's jugular, much more than other left-wing press. Even Le Monde, which is very much in favour of Hollande, and they're making no secrets of it, Libération, they're not kind of going at it so, I suppose, going for the jugular so virulently, I suppose.
Hedging their bets a little bit.
Exactly. So here they are, 10 questions of Mediapart have for Nicolas Sarkozy. Now, they're all focusing on different aspects.
Very long questions.
They are very long questions. Different aspects of suspected corruption or links to corruption. For example, a scoop that they got their hands on, possible links between Muammar Gaddafi's old regime and campaign funding for Nicolas Sarkozy back in 2007. So a lot of it is focusing on suspected illegal fundraising for the 2007 campaign. Now, Eva Joly, the Green candidate, is another person who's been making a lot of noise about this in the last week or two, saying, hold on a minute, this guy is seeking re-election and there are questions over his funding back in 2007. Why aren't more people talking about it? So Mediapart, what they're doing is using the opportunity to talk about the fact that they have uncovered a lot of these stories, or they are the ones that have been beating these stories really, really hard.
They've uncovered a lot of these kind of alleged
Scandals.
That's right.
The whole Ziad Taqiyuddin, he was an arms dealer and a middleman with links to the Sarkozy administration. That also the suspected fundraising from Gaddafi's regime, etc., etc. So they are what they're saying is, we invited him on to be interviewed by us on live streaming. We've already interviewed François Hollande. We've already interviewed 2 or 3 of the other candidates. Nicolas Sarkozy has said, no, these are the questions we want him to answer. For now, it hasn't been answered. And I've seen this actual article shared an awful lot on Facebook and Twitter today. So people, I suppose, pointing out that Mediapart are asking questions that they're not getting answers to from Sarkozy's camp, unsurprisingly.
Do they have quite a large circulation, Mediapart?
Well, for these interviews that they've conducted with the candidates, they usually have a paywall, and the paywall is lifted, so a lot of people do go onto their website. Okay. It's in conjunction with Daily Motion, which is France's answer to YouTube. Anyway, so there you go. That's one article getting a lot of press today.
All right, now Eva Joly, leader of the Green Party, another presidential candidate. She's polling, I think, less than 2% of the population at the moment. She's also having a go at Sarkozy, but from a bus.
That's right, and we are going to take a look at that in Campaign Chronicles coming up shortly with Mark Perlman. You'll get all the details. Basically, she's taking the bone that the Mediapart people have kind of thrown out, and she's running with it. She's catching it in her jaw and going for it.
Oh, I look forward to that. We'll save that for later then. All right, apologies. All right, let's move on to an online blog, which is highlighting a study saying that in the French suburbs, turnout could be high, and rather you'd expect it to be low, wouldn't you?
That's right. Now, this is Bondi blog. It's kind of a political blog, and they have conducted a poll in conjunction with Opinionway Polling House and other media. Now, what I thought was kind of unusual is the most marginalised parts of society. We're talking about the poorest, most downtrodden suburbs in France. You'd expect people to be quite politically disengaged, but actually what they've discovered here is that there is some people
who feel they don't have a stake in society. That's what they call it.
That's right. And what this poll says is that it could be a very, very high degree of voter turnout, up to 96% of people who have their names down. And actually, because the reason this is interesting is because one of the big themes of this campaign is that there's going to be a risk of people staying at home. Up to 32% of people say that they might not vote at all.
Big abstention
Yet in these suburbs, it looks like they will turn out. Now, they are saying that one of the reasons for that could be a high level of hostility towards Nicolas Sarkozy in these neighbourhoods. People kind of wanting to get him out because they think he is a bit hostile towards them.
The Rakai comment, did they? They never got over that.
That's right. He's famously antagonistic at moments towards people living in the suburbs.
Now, there's another blog, and it's coming from Hollande, the frontrunner's headquarters, and he's a little bit nervous. And you'd think with the lead he has in the polls, he'd be kind of taking it easy.
But that's it. Another poll came out today, and it's all like, Sarkozy slipping back down to maybe 24%, Hollande cruising ahead. Basically, it seems like all of these polls are saying it's a done deal. Yet, this blog on the Rue 89 website is called The Diary of a Rose Spy. Right, and a rose, the symbol of the Socialist Party. Right. So it sounds like a Bond film, except it's just a socialist blog, which is a bit disappointing. But anyway, now what he's saying is, no matter how good the news is, they're all still really jittery at the Hollande headquarters over in the 7th arrondissement. View over the Eiffel Tower, meant to be lovely. And so apparently they're totally paranoid. This guy who's not identified as the blogger, but he's a, what would you say, an anonymous blogger. He's saying that the slightest bit of bad news gets everybody panicking and depressed. I spend half my time being a therapist to people or being a coach. He said, that people don't seem to believe that they can win, even though the polls are saying that they will, because the socialists have only ever won the presidential election
a bit of confidence.
once. That's right, and they're saying on the other side of the political party, on the right wing, he's saying in this blog, the slightest bit of positive news makes them euphoric, as if they've taken LSD, even though the news is actually generally bad.
Which is worse. I don't know where I'd rather be in that situation.
He's saying they have reason to be happy, yet they're not, and on the other side of the bows, it's the opposite.
It's kind of like life, isn't it, James? Anyway, you're going to bore us all to death now with your next item.
Sorry about this. I actually was really bored writing this piece of. It's really boring. It's the 2012 Boring Film Festival, and I was going to do an impression earlier of people in the cinema. Will I?
It's like, yes, please.
It's like, okay, so no, it's a bit stupid, but
Just
anyway,
so you know,
it's
that
people
wasn't
snoring.
me.
It was Laura snoring earlier. Now, in any case, the idea is that this is a very French art house kind of idea.
This is an alternative to Cannes, I guess, isn't it?
That's right. This is in Marseille, starting on Saturday, the 2012 Boring Film Festival. The idea is to put the spotlight on silent movies, films that are too long, too short, experimental movies, films with no narrative. Don't you hate those ones where there's just no narrative and you're trying to figure out what's going on, and halfway through everything changes?
Yeah.
Now,
what's going on?
Now, even though it's called the Boring Film Festival, the creator of it is actually saying, look, it's films nowadays are too much. There's too much expected. They have to fit into various categories.
Yes, you only need a very short attention span.
That's right. And what about movies?
Which suits me quite well, to be honest.
Well, I think it suits most people quite well. So I think this is actually a movie this is a festival for film buffs.
It's not Citizen Kane, is it?
Who are prepared to sit through the long stuff. It might be, but it's actually, I think it's films from the past years, so I'm not sure the oldies will be in there.
Few contenders. All right, James Creedon, for now, many thanks. James will be back for Campaign Chronicles a little later in the show, but now we're going to leave you with web news. Among the stories today, the United States is condemning Iran for creating an electronic curtain. Find out what that is right now.